Welcome back to another McBob video. Today our guest appearance, Okash, and we are at Auschwitz. So far it's an eerie place. It's kind of beautiful. I don't know if I can say that.
Yeah, it's pretty chill so far. It doesn't look like a concentration camp from here.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't look. It looks like a luxury hotel. A nice place to be, you know? So now we're on a bus. Apparently we have to go visit like Auschwitz too. So Auschwitz Birkenau first, and the tickets here are free, which we thought was cool. We're on a bus right now, like a bus funded by the museum, and yeah, we're going to the second one first, and then we're gonna come back here later. So later, dudes. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Auschwitz. So I guess this is where they arrived in the cattle carts, jam-packed, absolutely no place to sit even. They were taken all the way back there probably, and then they unloaded the carts and took the people over to the barracks, I guess. I don't know, maybe they were washed first, shaved first. Lots of terrible recollections of Auschwitz can be found on YouTube. Unimaginable the amount of lives that were lost within these walls. It's crazy how this is the original barbed wire that was here. The terrors that this barbed wire experienced. Obviously there's a lot of towers overlooking the entire camp all around. Okay, so here we're approaching this barrack. This whole row is like this, I guess. So we're in right there at the first one. Number 1 through 15 is just normal barracks. Number 4 is a barrack where 184 Jews from the Hagu, men, women, and children were put into special isolation in this barrack on March 25th, 1944. On April 4th, they were all sent to be murdered in the gas chambers. So that's number 4, that's down there. But I guess we'll just explore this one first, in case it's empty. But I think this is a bathroom. Yeah, I think it's a bathroom, eh? Do you think? So this is interesting. If this is a bathroom, then there must have been like 100 people taking a shit at once. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. Wow, what an eerie feeling. Okay, so we're here. There's one, I guess there's 2 furnaces on either side. It's crazy, you see the black. You know it's not paint. You know it's not paint. You know that our wood was actually burned here to keep the people warm. I'm sorry. Yeah, and these are the barracks that were here. Oh no, these are repliki pritch. So these are replicas. But I guess this is what they would look like. That's interesting how they had like a huge fireplace going on each side, and the heat, I guess, would just transfer to keep the prisoners alive. I'm not gonna say warm because hundreds of them died of hypothermia, but yeah, it was not a fun place to be. This is just mainly the barracks. So that one right there is the one that had the 184, I think, people brought over. But I just want to show you at the end here, you can see how many, sorry for the wind noise, it's probably pretty bad, but here you can see the barracks are gone, but the chimneys are left. And I don't know if my GoPro can pick it up, but there's just so many of these chimneys. There must have been so many of these barracks. They must have been destroyed. It's crazy. Just a field of these chimneys. Interesting. Okay, so now we're at a different section. Before we were right here looking at these guys. Now we walked and we are right here in this square. Very interesting stuff, more interesting than that. Okay, so from May 1942 to July 1943, a special panel used for male prisoners was housed in this barrack. Inside there's an original drawing on the ceiling from the time of the camp's existence. Okay, so that's number 1. Okay, number 3. So over there is standing cells where you couldn't sit or lay down. Number 8, infirmary where prisoners were regularly murdered by a fennel injection into the heart. Okay, then we got kitchen showers, all that good stuff. Yeah, and those aren't the showers that you're thinking of. Those were those are elsewhere. I'll take you there as well. Whoa, what is this? It's closed. Okay, so change of plans. All of these barracks are closed for restoration purposes, which is kind of sad because I really wanted to see that picture that they drew on the ceiling, the prisoners. But I guess whatever, we'll go this side. We'll check this side out. We're on the other side, so we were there. Nothing to see there because it's all closed. But this side, we're on this side. And from the interesting ones, okay, this one will be super interesting. 1316. Barracks sometimes used for Polish children. In this barrack are original wall drawings. That'll be cool to see. 28 barracks used as an infantry women, as well as babies born in the camp, were murdered by a fatal shot into the heart. Barrack Jews children were kept used by the SS Dr. Joseph Mengele for criminal medical experiments. Okay, so we're first gonna go to the barracks where there's original drawings from Polish children. The last one in this row. Let's see if it's open. Let's go in here. What the heck? Okay, so this one's open. We're gonna check it out. Okay, so we're inside one of the bunks right now. Or yeah, one of the barracks. Sorry. It's crazy. You have top bunk, middle bunk, and I think there was people sleeping on the bottom as well. Would have been terrible. Okay, we're gonna leave this one. Got some kind of original in its furnace. Interesting. Okay, we are entering the barracks that would have been used for housing children. I gotta keep our eyes open, keep them peeled for original drawings. See, there's no cameras here, so there's assholes who like write their name on the walls. But okay, so these are the original drawings. This would have been the things. There you go. Okay, wall paintings, which according to the testimonies of former prisoners, Polish children deported from the Warsaw Uprising to KL Auschwitz were created in the second half of 1944. They were made by an anonymous prisoner. So these, but it's nice, just, I mean, it's not nice, it's kind of terrifying, but the idea that you're walking through here and there's people who slept here. Every night they would hear screams, they would keep them up, and I guess that's one thing that you never want to get used to, but they would have to in order to sleep. Just 2 barracks down is where that Nazi doctor would perform like all sorts of crazy operations on kids. I remember reading a recollection that they took 2 twins and they connected them together. They like ripped them open, sewed them together, and people were saying that all you could hear was screams for 3 days, I believe, before both of the kids died of, I believe it was infection. Crazy. So here you can see this is where they would have been washing their hands, or I guess cleaning up a bit. The other side had toilets, or just holes where the toilets would have been. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, I'm gonna try to cover the speakers up because it's a bit windy and you guys probably don't hear much. But on this site where I'm pointing to right now, you can see like the place where a barracks stood. You can see that there is no grass where it was on the inside. It was just there's just moss, and then you can see the signature, what's it called, fireplace, I guess, the furnace that would keep people alive. And this barrack was mainly used for children, and not just any children, but identical twins. So if you guys can read here, on this site stood a wooden barrack where in 1944 more than 200 Jewish children between the ages of 2 and 16 were kept as prisoners. These children, the majority of them twins, were used for criminal medical experiments by SS Dr. Joseph Mengele. That's crazy. I remember watching a video where a man explained the type of horrors that they would perform on these children. You can find very detailed, gruesome videos on the internet of what they did to people, and specifically twins, because like it was a bit of an obsession of theirs. Twins. It's crazy. It's nuts. I mean, it's only a couple of years ago, right? What is it? 70, 80 years ago this happened. And sorry, there's nothing left. Everything's falling apart. It's important to keep the memory of it, because the physical evidence is going to be gone before we know it. It's a very weird vibe to this place. Like, you can really feel the energy. It's very quiet. Okay, let's keep going. Okay, I think this is the last, like, super interesting barrack that is here. But this barrack, okay, I'll just read it. This barrack, the death barrack, was used for the special isolation of those women prisoners of the concentration camp who were selected by the SS as unfit to further work, to be sent to be murdered in the gas chambers. Here they had to await their deaths without food or water. They often for several days. Many died in the barrack before they were summoned. When the barrack was full, additional prisoners who had been selected for death were kept outside in a locked yard. So this is the yard, I guess. Here, they would have been kept in the locked yard. I think it's very hard for us privileged young people to understand what it feels like to be locked in a yard in the cold, awaiting your death. You can see. Yeah, don't mind the scratching, because they're all tourists who scratch their names into the walls. And it's crazy. So this is the death barrack. You know, all the different like sayings, I guess, or quotes you see on Instagram, things like, if you were dying on your deathbed and all your dreams and aspirations they came to you right before your death and they accused you of not giving them life. Well, I guess this was every single one of these beds. I'm assuming these are recreations, but every single one of these beds would have been that kind of deathbed. And all the lives that were unfairly taken from all these people. All the dreams, all the hopes. The other barracks, I mean, people knew what was possible for, like, I guess people knew what a possible outcome could have been for them. People knew that they could have died here. But these specific women, they were sentenced to death. They were just awaiting their date. There was no hope for them. They were deemed unfit to live, unfit to work. And there was nothing left but to kill them. And these women who were usually either sick or weak and pregnant or old, I mean, it really doesn't take a lot of imagination to imagine your grandma lying in one of these hard wooden beds, thinking that she will be here without food or water, laying on that very bed until someone drags her down and shoves her into a gas chamber. This was, for many, many people, many women, this was the end of the road. That's crazy. Every single barrack has a story or multiple stories. Like I said, there were so many women in this barrack at one point that they had to keep some outside in cages because there was just no space for them to be inside. It's just like absolutely terrifying. Terrifying. Terrible way to die, to live. Okay, so this would have been where all the cattle cars, or cars, I don't know, approached. And then the gate that everyone recognizes. This is super intimidating. Up there you see the little windows. You could have seen probably Nazi officers overlooking all the carts. Mothers separated from children, wives from husbands. In the years 1940, 1941, German occupants expelled the Poles, inhabitants of the villages, and then there's a bunch of villages. Germans founded the death camp Auschwitz-Birkenau and its economic and industrial base on the side of the demolished or taken buildings. So back there it was just Auschwitz-Birkenau, so just the barracks and stuff. Here's Auschwitz, and there is a huge lineup of people waiting at the front there to go through like rigorous security where you have to like screen your bags and all that fun stuff, because apparently they've been having like anti-Semitic attacks here, so they have to make sure you have no weapons or anything. And in front of me is the one and only, can't mistake it for anything else, work will set you free. Whew. That is an odd feeling walking through that gate. Don't you think, my friend? Yeah?
I just want to see the gas chambers.
Yeah, me too, to be honest. I really want to see those. Okay, so just upon entry we turned right and we have 3 poles and a rail on top. And this rail was used to hang prisoners who were suspected of either contacting the outside world or helping others escape. And yeah, so this wasn't really like a form of execution for large amounts of people. This was just more to intimidate other prisoners, just to like show for the show. Yep, let's keep going though. There's a beautiful museum here. It's crazy to look at all the photos. Huh. So we finally came across a map and we can see what's here. Not too much stuff I have to show you, but most important, here's the gate. We went up here, we saw where they executed by hanging. We're somewhere towards the end here, but here is where you want to go. C, E, and G. So C, site of execution by shooting. E, site of mass gassing by means of Cyclone B. And G, crematorium 1 and the first gas chamber. So here's where they were shot, gassed, and cremated. Yeah. So this is building number 20, which would have been used for execution by lethal injection. So definitely a lot of terrifying memories here. So here we have the plan of the gas chamber, and here's the entrance. Turns out must have been the bunker where they interrogated people. Here's the entrance to the gas chamber. So this must have been the hole in the ceiling where they dropped the Cyclone B gas. And here are the famous scratches. These are ovens. So these are the ovens where they would have cremated the bodies. Very interesting stuff. I think there's almost 1.5 million people were killed at this concentration camp, and most of them died at the hands of, as a result of breathing in this gas. These very cans that were punctured by the Germans and emptied into the gas chambers. So here you can see a huge pile of hair. Goes tons and tons and tons of it. Crazy. Here you see some of the braids that were cut off and a piece of cloth that was created out of human hair. They made cloth out of the hair. Dang. Here we have a wall dedicated for all, or for some, I guess, of the men and women who died here. And you can read, it's really brings it into perspective. All these people are humans, all these people, fathers and sons and brothers, and here we have all their information. Peter Nowak, Polish, born 1886. He was a laborer. Was deported. Nice. Look at this. She was a photo lab technician. Carpenter. Here you can see how they were forced to take 3 pictures. And you can see the terror in their eyes. This one really stands out. What's her name? Krystyna. Krysia. And she was here for a year and died. She died 1943. Some clothes, My GoPro died, so I'm using my phone. You can see the tears in their eyes. Separated from their families, never to return. So here we enter this huge gate, and you can see a wall at the end that was used, or that people were like placed against and shot. You can see how the Germans really used like evil psychological methods to break people. Like, this would be an open area, people would be looking out, and they would be shot against this wall. Their lives ended. Wow. Yeah, so that's that. It's crazy how these doors gave people PTSD and terrors. Right now I'm doing something that all these millions of people dreamed of doing. It's just leaving this wretched place. This is literally something they wished they could do. They dreamt about, but they couldn't.